All right, everyone. Welcome to RWA Inc.'s Town Hall number 3. This time around, we're going to jump into a lot of the things that we're going to do in the future. We will, of course, talk a bit about the past and what has been done up to today. But as you always know, this is your only place to be able to know what's coming in the future. So we'll jump directly in and get ready as we have a ton of updates to present to you today. So let's kick it off by handing over the microphone to our CEO and founder, Kevin Unai, to talk a bit about the focus.
Thank you, Mike. And hi, everyone. I am sending live from Denver, Denver. And it's an incredible place. We are having so much to tell you. But first and foremost, I want to tell you that we are now focusing big time on client onboarding and client execution. We also scaling massively up on our investor focus to raise funds for our clients. And I tell you guys, it's absolutely insane how good we are at closing clients. We have something everybody wants. So we're going to bring a lot of news over the next weeks, and you will see a lot of announcements. Yep. So basically what we are doing now is we are increasing our exposure towards the world. We are simply saying yes to all the events. We were just in Hong Kong, met more than 5,000 people and contacts in total. And now we are in Denver, where we also are 3 men from the team. So you can expect a lot of news coming from both the partner sides, the investor side, and also from clients. Yeah. As I say, we are in a situation of a perfect storm here. We have really found something that everybody we talk to wants. They love the fact that we have been through the process of listing our own token with success, and they like our honesty, our credibility, and our dedication to delivering. And we can just see the market wants this. Every single client I spoke to here in Denver wants to onboard, and therefore we have very bullish news on the metrics. Yep. I'll give it back to you, Mike.
Wonderful, Kevin. Yeah, thank you so much. And I think some of the things that could be a lot of questions around is like, what do we actually learn from working with all of these clients? And I wanted to give you a little bit of a rundown of some of the things that we've learned by onboarding 7 clients in the first couple of months. And also, of course, also by discussing with a lot of different projects to figure out which ones should we really be onboarding. And some of the learnings have really that all of the clients that we bring to the table, they will be first-time token launchers because they are not here to run their third Web3 project because the first or the second didn't work. They're not here to just launch another token because it's easy. They are here to build real businesses, and they want their token to be integrated into that business, meaning that they only have that one time. They need to make these tokens work and their businesses work around them. Also, we realize, as Kevin said, we run into every single client run into the same issues and pain points that we did during our launch. Learning, like, who can you trust in this space? How do you spend your marketing dollars the best way possible? How do you onboard the right, KOLs and other things like that? And a lot of different things that you learn by doing. I personally spend around 1,200 hours from November until November. So November 23 until November 24, I spend around 1,200 hours personally trying to figure out all of this stuff. And what we are trying to do is to make sure that our clients should maybe spend a fifth or even a sixth of that time to make the same results happen, just because we know how to solve those pain points. Also, every single client needs to get full launch support. They need to understand everything from the first time that they're even introduced to what is the terminology, Web3, what is a smart contract, how does all of these different things work together, what's CoinMarketCap and CoinGecko. Like a lot of them actually don't know that you need to do all of these things. They don't know what the process looks like to get onboarded with market makers, to have, a central exchange that you need to set up a partnership with. All of these things are actually quite difficult. And it means that when they come into this space, they are really entering it for the first time, as I said before. And it means that we can actually help them with 5 or 4 very big things. Of course, a lot of other things are under that, but mainly reviewing their organization, understanding who's on the team. Do they have the right capabilities? Do they need more skill set? Do they have the right people? Is the team set up for success? Added to that, we can help them heavily with acceleration of the actual launch, meaning how do we get in contact with the right people? How do we build out our socials? How do we make sure we build a community? How do we actually connect with people and tell a story that people actually believe and also will invest into? Then we support them heavily with their fundraising support, of course, both introductions to VCs, to private investors, etc., but making sure that these projects actually get in front of the right people, or even vice versa, making sure the investors get the right projects in front of them. And then we finally also have a big focus on the post-launch business support, because I think this is where there's a big difference between RWA Incorporated and pretty much every single accelerator that I have met so far personally, because they are very focused on token generation events. They are very focused on whenever the token is generated and maybe the first month after that. What we care about is the first 12 months, 24 months after the launch, making sure that these projects actually know how to do a go-to-market, how to build product market fit, and how to really drive real revenues, because this will ultimately affect their tokens, and all of the investors will gain opportunities back from this. So these are just some of the main learnings that really makes it possible for us to be a perfect fit for every single client that we've spoken to so far. What we are really building at this point, based on those knowledges, is the RWA investor platform. This means that we have actually found out that there is a clear issue, a clear challenge that we can disrupt with what we are doing today. And it works. So far, we have onboarded a bunch of clients that have gotten massive improvements out of this, optimizations. Of course, we still need to launch these projects because the market is not really helpful right now. But as soon as those projects come out, we will also see how well this actually affects in the public market. But what we see that all of these projects need is really a project acceleration, making them ready for Web3 launches, making them understand how do you even do this? What should you do and what shouldn't you do? And how do you make sure that your business can also grow with real revenues afterwards? Added to this, the private fundraising is really making it possible for us to put these projects in front of fantastic investors, but also make sure that the investors only get to see properly DD'd projects, because we only work with real docs teams, real business models, and real utilities in the token. Therefore, as the private fundraising happens, we are actually making it possible for people to invest $1,000 plus tickets in these projects, really going back to our vision of enabling anyone to invest in anything. This means it's not just the VCs, it's actually also private investors, angels, VCs, institutional investors, even down to a normal person that really just has a $1,000 ticket they want to put into something in the private round. Thereafter, we make it possible for these projects to do public crowdfunding. This means that this opens up for the other side of the investor portal, where people with below 1,000 tickets gets access to these projects, starting at something like $10 per investment, but all of this happening before the TGE, meaning that every single one who's listening in today, in the future will be able to have the opportunity to invest in projects before they go to market. And we want to make this extremely transparent. We want to make it possible for every single one of you to be able to have that opportunity. Instead of sitting back, looking at someone that's a VC that has the right connections, that is the only one who gets those options. That should not be the case. And finally, we are of course going to list all of our projects, all of our client projects, including our own, on the public trading DEX. That is all going to go into the one single platform. This means that project acceleration, fundraising, crowdfunding, and public trading will all happen in one place, the trusted RWA investor platform. What we also do is, of course, we mainly focus on projects that are in pre-seed up until around B series, because everything else later than that is more looking at public IPOs, bigger $100 million rounds and stuff like that. We don't want to go into that type of size. We are caring more at earlier stage startups and scale-ups, making it possible to get those opportunities at higher multipliers. So this one platform is really going to serve all investors, meaning that every single one of you who's looking for those type of opportunities, real projects, real teams, real revenues, not all of the, bad stuff that we see in Web3, all of the things that you don't really know if you can trust, but one platform where you know that this was done properly. And the private rounds are really going to be a VIP section, if you want, which is going to be open only for Gold plus RWA tiering. This means that if you do not have that tiering, you will not be able to invest in those projects at that early stage. This is again the $1,000 plus tickets, and both for privates, angels, VCs, and institutionals. The public rounds is of course something that requires a base plus tiering in the RWA setup. Here it's more $10 plus up till $1,000, and typically we would expect to see more retail and private investors focusing on this opportunity. Finally, the public trading or the decentralized exchange that we're building will actually be built on a multi-chain design, meaning that we will support both players like Base, BSC, Ethereum, Sol, and others. And this actually means that we will also look at opportunities for integration of more RWA-focused blockchains, like players like Ohm or Mantra or others like that, potentially being integrated into the ecosystem later on. But it really means that we're going away from focusing on a centralized setup where we have the only thing they can build on, and we actually become a bit more agnostic, and we focus a lot more on bringing the right projects to the right investors, giving everyone the opportunity that we've all been looking for. So that means we are building the RWA investor platform. And with that, if we look at our roadmap or our OKRs, as we call them here, which is objectives and key results, we are, of course, already at a place where we have announced more than 5 clients that have added to our IDO and also our advisory setup. We are at 7 at this point. Some are still to be announced. We have expanded the team. One very important expansion that we've done is that we've added a head of client services to our team, who's going to work very closely with both myself, Kevin, and AJ, and also the rest of the team on supporting all of these clients on getting the massive success we believe they should have. We will announce the person in the coming week or so to make sure that everyone knows and meets this new member of our team. We will be adding this private VIP investor section, something that was not on the roadmap before. And this means that this opens up for everyone to use a blockchain-driven private investment opportunity. No more sending around messages in Telegram or other places, but having one place where you all know that this is secured and that your investment is taken care of properly. We have been going on with the massive marketing expansion. Some of it we've slowed down a little bit now because the market has simply taken too much of a hit for us to blow out a lot of marketing spend, because it's actually not the right thing to do. We should spend that money when it makes sense, and we will make sure to do that. We've also started the development process of the RWA DEX, so the decentralized exchange, going into that investor platform. And we, of course, continue our work on the security licenses so that in the future, you will not only be able to invest in utility tokens for new projects coming up, you will actually be able to invest into the equity of these projects, owning parts of businesses in the future as an investor anywhere. We will list the RWA token on the DEX as soon as that is available, which is expected in Q2, the final DEX version. And then we will, of course, run the testnet launch of RWA DEX, most likely in either early Q2 or late Q1. We are looking at the expansion, and I know everyone is focusing on where's the tier one centralized exchange. And we must be honest, we have said it a few times, listing on a tier one exchange in the current market conditions would literally be the worst thing we could do as a project. You need to time this very, very well, just as you need to time the original TGE in the best possible market conditions. And that's why this is still to be confirmed when it's happening, but it is a big focus for us. Of course, we want the RWA token to be on the biggest exchanges out there to make sure that everyone in the world have the opportunity to be a part of this ecosystem. The expansion on the DEX listings, we found that it was not really where we found the biggest support and the biggest opportunity. It was actually maybe even worse to have too many DEXs at the same time. So therefore, we have isolated some of the liquidity over to Aerodrome and Thena, and we really set ourselves up for success on those two DEXs, mainly very, very innovative DEXs supporting both the base and the BSC setup. And then one very important thing for all of you to understand is that we have paused the completion of the layer 2 blockchain. The reason why we have paused this completion is because after very many discussions, a lot of research and a lot of work gone into actually building the first version of the L2, we found that this was actually not what our clients were looking for. This was actually not what the community necessarily were looking for, maybe from a marketing narrative perspective, but not from a real product usage perspective. And the utility of this layer 2 would not affect the RWA token as much as we really wanted, which is why we went ahead and said we will pause this and instead focus our time on the private VIP investor section and on the DEX, all brought into one investor platform for all of you. Timelines should be fairly similar, so we haven't changed a lot. The only thing is, what do we prioritize? And it should be said, the L2 is paused. It's not canceled, which means that as soon as we have enough assets and enough projects that want to go on these chains, then it makes sense to continue the work on the L2. So this really means that I'm repeating myself in the top here really quick, but it means that the L2 development is paused due to numerous reasons. And this was really because of us thinking about what do our clients need, what do our investors really need, and what has the biggest utility impact on the RWA token. There we found the investor platform is really what matters. Every single project we're working with needs this stuff. And therefore, we have gone ahead and started building the private fundraising piece, the VIP section. The public fundraising is already there, as you know, which is really what was called the Launchpad before. We are actually going to stop talking as much about the name Launchpad because it's really public crowdfunding. And we don't believe that necessarily the word Launchpad has the best name in the industry anymore. We want to stand out as professional investment opportunities. And then we are going to add the public trading, so the decentralized exchange where anyone can trade our project, our clients' projects, and even other projects in the RWA sector. So therefore, we are expecting to complete the RWA investor platform by Q2, securing that the full ecosystem is actually done by Q2. And it will be very easy to add the equity piece to this. So we can both run utility launches with private fundraising, crowd fundraising, and public trading, and we can have equity opportunities with the same opportunity setups. So all of this really well plays into the whole vision of enabling anyone to invest in anything, opening it up to rounds that you have never been able to access before. Of course, as you know, there's also been work on making sure the AI agents are starting to really do the research necessary on new projects to validate the quality of these projects. And this AI agent is about to finish the first phase, which is phase 0, the platform that will be able to research whether a project has the quality necessary for us to launch them on our platform. So a lot more is happening to create less human errors and increase the speed and opportunity for the RWA investor ecosystem. If we look at marketing, product marketing has actually been our highest focus, making sure that we actually start building a bigger user base for the investor platform, getting people into the ecosystem. As you can see, more than 27 million RWA tokens have been staked now, which really shows that the early investors are either staking their tokens or the new investors are the ones staking their tokens, believing in a future in this investor platform. We have started a new website development. And the reason why we did that is because the first website that we had was very focused on the token launch, if you want. And what we want to do now is move over to what are we as a business? How do we serve investors and how do we serve projects? Making sure people understand that the RWA token is not a hype. It's not a one-off. It's not something that has come to leave again. It is something that is built into a bigger revenue engine. And we are already looking quite good on that side, which I won't touch on too much, but I know AJ will slightly kind of skim over those things. At the same time, we have increased our follower counts to plus 300,000 on X. We have added a good amount of ecosystem partners that will feed directly into either the integrations or utilize our systems. We have announced multiple clients, as you also know. And finally, we have paused some of the marketing spend due to the market conditions, as I mentioned earlier, making sure that we actually only spend money whenever it actually makes sense. And this is how you build a business. This is what we should care about. We should not be spending money trying to hype something that doesn't matter. We should be building a business that's going to give back to every single one of you. 50% of everything we do will end up coming back to you. And that is very, very, very different because we're going to keep it and we're going to do exactly what we promised. So if we touch on the clients real quick, because I've talked about us working closely with these clients and it's been an amazing journey, to be honest. You really learn and experience what happens when these clients go through the process that I personally and the rest of our team went through since 2023. And right now we have Straight Fire ready, already looking extremely strong, partnering with players like Story that launched on major exchanges for their IP tokenization. And they will be looking at launching in the next few months. That is at least what is being expected. And that means that they are actually taking fundraising right now. And therefore, you as a part of our RWA ecosystem can actually get access to these private rounds already today by contacting us. Backstage is the same, doing some crazy cool events with players like OKRs. They have, names like Tiesto and other Tullum and everything that they're working together with on building events on the blockchain, completely disrupting a $100 billion industry that is about to be really taken with a new turn. And here they also are open to taking rounds. So feel free to reach out to us if you're actually interested in getting these opportunities. We want to give you the opportunity to invest in the projects you believe are going to be a great opportunity for the future. We're helping Penamo really look through their marketing strategy, their narrative, and they will be launching a brand new website, a brand new setup, but they are also ready to do their fundraising. Again, the same size in their private round, taking those $1,000 plus tickets. MetaMovers is a brand that we went to market with, helping them advise to really change, to think about what actually mattered. They were very focused on how do we launch a token the right way. And what they actually needed was more to think about how do we build the right brand? How do we build the right revenue funnel? How do we make sure all of this happens? And the MetaMovers team is actually great at building revenue. They are super professional in the real estate space, and they have already built a ton of revenue in the Web2 world through marketing engines. So they will be rebranding their complete setup. They will be launching their MVP of the product very soon. New website, new white paper, new everything in collaboration with us, making sure that people really understand this is for real. This is real businesses. They even told me yesterday that they can be profitable as a business in only a couple of months from now, showing how real this is. PiggyZell is another client that we've taken on to help accelerate into the Web3 world because they are true Web2. They already have the biggest mobile device charging business in Korea. They have 100,000 plus stations where they help people charge phones in the world as of it is today. They are making, millions of dollars in revenue every year already today. It's not just theories, it's not just ideas, it's reality that we're talking here. And these are giving you the opportunities to be a part of this journey. PiggyZell is a deep in project where they will be doing share revenue opportunities and share revenue models, making it possible for you to actually get access to that ecosystem that they have spent years building. And this is not the end. This is just the end of February. We have 4 more clients ready to be announced. So we're serious when we say that we're building the ecosystem, and we're not just doing this for being Web3. We're utilizing the technology as it was supposed to. I'll hand it over to AJ to give us a bit more rundown of the business impact.
Thanks, Mike. So I'll just kind of try to frame a lot of the stuff that Kevin and Mike laid out in how it really just kind of, looks for the business, right? So if, again, we look to a month ago, we had 5 clients. We had 2 in diligence. We signed both of those clients. We now have 7 clients, right? So we're continuing to onboard. The growth is kind of far beyond our initial Q1 expectations. We expect, like I said, probably to have more than 10 clients signed by the end of the quarter, which will be a doubling of our Q1 goal, which was 5 clients. So, and that could be higher. And as Mike said, we've got a great head of client services, which allows us to scale. And if we think about, what we were limited by over the last couple of months, it's been our own team's capacity to execute on everything. Mike personally gets involved with every client that we launch. Kevin has been prolific in terms of bringing in high quality clients. So we have a really good problem where we've got more clients than we can actually service right now. But we're working on building that out. And I think, it's a testament to what our plans were and where we've actually delivered, how we've been able to do that. So we expect that to kind of accelerate into the end of Q1 and through into Q2. Really interesting thing that we've identified with a number of our clients is software development services. So we have a level of expertise here. We've got a team that knows what they're doing and can scale these solutions. And really importantly, after looking at kind of everything else that's available out in the market, we can do it, we think, better. And we know we can do it more cost competitively because we've seen competitor, quotes out there for other solutions. So this is high value. It's a high value service for clients, and it's a nice new revenue stream that kind of bolts into our additional client focused business model. So, rather than, I would say kind of going broad and adding more and more, kind of disparate projects that are maybe related, to the overall client and investor offerings, this is core, right? And this really, really helps drive value for our clients. And it's also a nice revenue driver for ourselves. As Mike mentioned, the investor portal, I think this is going to be huge, right? This is something that we've gathered a ton of feedback from our existing investors, from other folks in the market. And I think, anyone that's kind of, dabbled in this world, wherever you are on the spectrum, if you're a VC or an angel investor or a retail investor just looking to kind of play in the space, it's really there's so much opportunity to do this better than the way it's currently being done. It's disorganized, it's unprofessional, right? There's no kind of single source of truth for a lot of the stuff that's out there. A lot of it involves Telegram, which I know everyone uses, but if you're like me, you hate it, but you just have to use it because it's kind of a necessary evil of Web3. So we're looking to change that. We think we've got kind of the right blueprint, the right ingredients here. And when we roll this out in Q2, I think that's going to be really exciting. And not only, again, does that bolsters, kind of our core business model of servicing clients, right? So kind of everything that we've really focused our efforts on is expanding our ability to do a better job for the clients that we work with. We do have some really interesting new business development relationships, which I think create some revenue sharing opportunities over time. So we're exploring that. Now, the interesting thing here is if we look back to last month, we had about 13% of our circulating supply staked. That's increased to 15.3. So that's an 18% increase from last month. And considering kind of all the chaos that's been happening in the markets, that's a huge win. We're really excited about that. And as a reminder, we still don't have a single project launched on our launch pad, or sorry, we'll be renaming that, I suppose. But even without really anything for folks to do, I think people are starting to kind of line up and say, hey, this is coming. And you're seeing that circulating supply staked as a way to get more access on our launch pad. So once launches begin, we expect that to change. But we're, especially given the macro environment, we're really excited to see, more folks, staking RWA, putting it in as effectively a long-term play for themselves versus just kind of, trading the token. And that said, we've got things coming, right? So Mike mentioned several clients. The earliest ones are looking at a late March, early April timeframe. Obviously, there's a market dependency there that will factor in. But, we're expecting over the next couple of months, we'll have multiple clients launched on the platform. One thing that I just will say on the L2, because I believe there was a question in the comments, when we started digging into this more, there's a couple of things that we identified from a business standpoint. So one, it isn't entirely core to the business. It's not entirely necessary. There are several other very large established layer ones, layer twos, particularly that are focused on real world assets that we think probably represent, a better near-term opportunity. The other things that we've had to consider is how would launching a layer two impact our tokenomics, right? And looking through kind of everything that's out there and all of the models that are out there, we weren't entirely sure that this would be positive. And, given that we have a certain tokenomic profile today, we would have to go through some changes that would have to go through a governance vote to make the appropriate changes to do anything, right? And really, we wouldn't change anything with our unlocked or vesting schedule. We actually can't formulaically because it's put into the smart contracts and all of the tokens are locked. So we would have to use kind of what is coming. And if we use all of that, we would have to use probably most of it towards the deployment of the layer two to build out that ecosystem, whether it comes to validators or incentives on the chain. It brought up a bunch of questions on how that actually benefits the business. So our view is let's stay laser focused. We know what we're really good at. We're kind of beating our own expectations on that. So let's continue to invest all of our resources into that, right? And most of that is the team's time and efforts to grow that, right? So we're really excited about kind of where we're at right now. We're basically past what we expected to be by the end of March, and it's the end of February. And I think we'll be, comfortably double where we expected to be in a month's time.
Yep.
Wonderful words, AJ. Thank you for the rundown of the overall business impact. And I think this puts us at the end of the town hall. And it should be said that we have before not done this, but we'll open up the opportunity for a few minutes here to be able to ask questions directly either on our X or on Telegram If anyone have any questions to what it is that we have said today, feel free to write those questions in the chat. Otherwise, we will answer questions, follow up after the town hall.
I have one question for you, Mike, actually. You mentioned for folks that are interested in both the investor platform and potentially becoming a client of RWA, what's the best place for folks to go to reach out to the team?
So it's a really good question. Thank you, AJ. That's actually super helpful. Of course, we prefer to gather everything in one place. We are about to build a centralized system where you can go and do this. This can happen through the website in the future and also through, of course, the investor platform itself. But as of today, there are really two options that will be the best. Unfortunately, one of them is still Telegram. So feel free to reach out to myself, Kevin, or even AJ, if it is that you have any interest in some of these early stage startups that will be looking at launching in the future. The other way is to write us on an email. Of course, there we can get back to you very easily, and you can write us at either Kevin@RWA.inc, AJ@RWA.inc, or Mike@RWA.inc. So all of these options are ways to really get in touch with us at this point in time.
There's also a contact form on the website. So if you forget that or didn't write it down, if you just go right to the website, you can find the contact us form in what tab is it? The far right tab.
Yeah.
The company tab.
Yep. All right. Well, I don't see any questions right now in Telegram, but we can follow up, of course, on anything that might come up later. We do appreciate everyone who listened in today, and we do understand that as a business you learn as you go, and of course pausing something, starting others is sometimes necessary because you learn when actually working closely with clients what they really need and where this utility of the token will have the biggest effect. So thank you for your time, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.